That is the number one thing that I like about going to fights is the energy around the room. I always know something's going to jump off at some point, and I think maybe two or three times while I'm commentating, we can hear things going on behind us. We see security running and things like that. But man, it makes it all worth it because that energy. I have not been to the Super Bowl. That was close to something. I know that had to be close to the Super Bowl just the other night. Nate Diaz like filled that arena up. Everybody thought people were there to see Jake Paul. They were there for Nate Diaz.
That's crazy, Shawn. So you've obviously you've been a competitor in some of the biggest fights that we've seen over the last decade. Obviously, working this one, you've been as a spectator to fights. I mean, this really was as big, or if not bigger, than any of the previous fights that you have either been a part of in some way.
This was just as big as Mayweather and McGregor.
Wow.
Just as big. I think the stadium was smaller, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, when Nate Diaz walked, the crowd was so loud. I put my head down. I was like, wow, I've never heard anything like this before. I never heard anything like that before. And it was and the other cool part about it, it was fun from beginning to end. I mean, I think it was safe to say we knew Nate wasn't gonna win after the first round.
Right.
But MMA fans, man, they show up, they show out, they have a lot of fun, and they are extremely loud. And I was loving it.
Yeah, talk to me now about the fight. The first round, Jake comes out and dominates. I think he probably wins 1, 2, and 3. Nate has a good fourth round, make things a little ugly. Obviously, the
Yeah.
fifth with the knockdown. To me, and tell me if I'm wrong, at times Jake seemed a little gassed later in the fight. Um,
It
what
just
did you make?
overall, I mean, like you just said it, like it just was an interesting, fun fight to watch. The first round, it was like, okay, Jake, this is gonna be quick,
That's
which
what
is
I
what
thought too.
I thought it was gonna. This is what I thought all along. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is going according to plan.
Yeah.
But Nate Diaz, I mean, I thought that between the poundings that he had taken in the UFC and then him not being a true boxer, that between not being having true love and interest in doing this,
Yeah.
and then as old as he is, I was like, couple rounds. I mean, he's walking around the ring, he's looking at fans. That dude Nate Diaz is the guy. And somebody said something the other night. They said he knows how to lose right. And what he meant by that was he knows how to lose in a way that makes you feel like, yo, he was so fun to watch. I don't even give a damn that he didn't perform or that he lost, you know?
Yeah.
When the knockdown came, I was like, okay, we're about to find out who Jake Paul is now at this
Yeah.
point as a fighter. I gave Jake a C on the night. And the reason why I gave him a C on the night is because you have to start getting to a point where now, not only are you connecting and knocking people down, but now you know how to finish. And we can see that he still does not know how to finish. Nothing wrong with that. This kid is still learning on the job, you
Right.
know? But nonetheless, man, it's still, there were the narratives, the entire fight. It was like there was something to talk about after every round. And as a commentator, man, it made it fun for me.
Yeah, and as a fan, it was so fun to watch, Sean. What does Jake need to do? What he wants to fight boxers. I even heard him bring up Canelo's name again. So putting that aside now, because obviously understanding who Canelo Alvarez is, but if he wants to fight guys who are not retired MMA fighters and are strictly boxers, and he wants to reach a championship level, what does he need to improve on? And do you think it is actually possible?
I respectfully am going to say I don't think he can make it to the world championship level against fighters who are le- completely legitimate,
Right,
young, youthful, experienced the whole nine.
right,
What I would suggest Jake does is continue to fight who he's fighting. Again, he's learning on the job. Yeah,
right.
he's getting a 2 month training camp in, but that energy inside of the ring is way different than every day at camp and training and sparring.
Right.
You know, so he has to get more experience in fight situation experience. And he looked at me before that first round, before that fight started. And when he looked at me, I said, stay calm, because I understand that you have to, when you knock a guy down, if you're calm, you're able to see, and it slows down,
Right.
and you're able to find what you need. But you knock a guy down, you're too excited, you're exhilarated, the whole nine. Now you're moving too fast and you don't see it and it doesn't come, So when I say, hey man, calm down, what fighter with experience, they know, hey, this fight starts, I got to be calm. But then when that knockdown comes, they know, hey, I have to be calm right here and I can find it. So he's still got a little ways to go. I certainly would not suggest he get in the ring with Canelo Alvarez. I don't think Canelo Alvarez would suggest he get in the ring with him, but I don't think that fight will ever happen. But I can see Jake eventually saying, hey, I need a real fight, a quote unquote, an established
Right.
boxer. But there's no telling who or when that'll be.
You know, and tell me if you disagree with me here, Shawn. And if that never happens for me as a fan, like I think it's fun to watch these fights, and I like it. And there's nothing wrong. He doesn't have to fight Canelo Alvarez in my mind, who's been a fighter his entire life. I'm finding this enjoyable, and it seems like the fans are too.
I think the last fight that I had fun at, and just to bring it back up again, was Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
But it was a star-studded event. I mean, all of the Avengers were there. We were hanging out. And that's what these events are supposed to be
Yeah.
like. And so I'd rather him ride this wave as long as he can. Ignore what the boxing world is telling you because that is not your true audience. Your true audience loves what you're doing. Cater to that audience and stay away from this audience. This audience over here is going to get you into trouble. They
Right.
already did one time. Pay attention. You got in the ring with Tommy Fury and you lost the fight. You lost the fight because you fought in front of a commission and a referee that did not understand what they were looking at. You got a referee in the ring with Jake Paul taking points away. Why? No. So
Quickly
stay
too.
away. So stay away from that audience. That audience is going to get you into trouble. Keep catering to your TV fans and your YouTube fans because that's the audience who is truly paying your bills. This audience over here, we're watching it, and some people are watching to see him get beat a lot, like people were doing with Floyd.
Right.
Me, I'm right in the middle, man. I enjoy when he gets in the ring. I think it's fun along the way.
Yeah.
And you give me a couple more of these Nate Diaz type fights and I'm fulfilled, man. This was fun the other night.